right. Welcome back to Hitches, NoVA's #1 football podcast. Coach Mesa, how's it going, buddy?
It's going very well. Because as you know, this week, I learned this week why everybody hates Laker fans. I've been a Laker fan my whole life. I'm a Southern California kid. I was born in California, so it's not like I'm some guy who just claims the Lakers. So for example, I tell people all the time, my dad's Lakers were Jerry West, Nelson Baylor. My Lakers were Magic and Kareem. My brother's Lakers were Kobe and Shaq. So huge Laker fan. But the fact that we were able to steal a 25-year-old Luka Doncic, I know now why people hate us. I know now why they hate the Lakers. I mean, just they stole him, and I couldn't be happier. We can now let LeBron walk. We got LeBron James. I didn't even bring up LeBron James. We can let LeBron walk, and then
I call for an investigation. It's ridiculous. Meanwhile, I'm longing for the days of Gilbert Arenas and John Hot Plate Williams.
I thought you were gonna go Wes Unseld.
Wes Unseld and Phil Chenier.
Oh yeah.
Phil Chenier. Steve Buckhantz calling the games.
Did you have Hot Rod Williams?
No, we had Hot Plate.
Oh yeah.
Because he went to the buffet. He gained too much weight.
You guys had that really good team that had Chris Webber and
Rod Strickland. Jawan. Yeah, and then we blew it up. That team gave the Bulls a run for their money in 95?
Yeah, it was like a 5-game series, right?
Yeah, they lost. We lost every game, so we got swept, but we were in every game.
Yeah.
And at that point, or even Jordan was like, "Oh, that's the team to look out for in the future."
Yeah. And
we screwed it up somehow because we always screwed it up.
Where did they're the Bullets back then, right? Where'd they play at? Was it still the Capital One Arena or I feel like that's fairly new.
That team was they had moved already, I think, if I remember correctly, because it was no more Bullets. That was the whole thing. It was the Wizards, right? And then Chris around here, they had a whole campaign, and it was so over the top. And if you're an old DC lifer, then you know. But it was like, they come on TV and they'd be like, "No more Bullets, stop the violence," and they'd come on there and they do this whole vote. And somehow the Wizards won, which I don't understand how that won. There was some really bad names. Sea Dogs, I think, was one of the names. There were some really bad names. I liked Washington Power. That was one of the names.
I'm gonna go.
And the it was like the Capitol building with like muscular arms.
Oh, yeah, that'd been pretty cool.
I think that was Steve Buckhantz's drawing, if I'm not mistaken. And it was a good one, or Chick Hernandez, and it was a good one.
Yeah.
And they went with Wizards. I don't know how that got decided.
Speaking of name changes, did you hear that there's pressure for them to change the Commander's name again?
They've been talking about that for a minute. They're going to go back to more of the traditional color.
Yeah. Because
they kind of went metallic with that red, that maroon. Yeah. I think they're going to go back to like the which is cool. At least go back to the colors if you're not going to go back to the name and logo.
I always thought they were going to go with what was the name of the African American fighter group, the Red Wings? Something? No, not the Red Wings. What was it? The Red Tails.
Right. That was one of the ones they had talked about.
That's the one I thought, like, it's red still in it, right? You could call them the Tails instead of the Skins, right?
Right.
Red Tails. You could even change the Hail the Red songs, Hail to the Redskins to the Hail.
Yeah, for sure. Tails.
I thought it would have been perfect, right? African American fighter pilot with the helmet on. It doesn't change all that much. I thought that was a perfect transition.
Yeah, there was a few. There was a couple that were plays on Hogs they didn't go with.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been good. So who knows, right? I mean, I feel like things are always changing, and
you
never know. You never know.
But they'll be back in DC though, right? They're gonna build at the old RFK site, right? It's a done deal at this point,
right? Old DC, fight for old DC.
But what's old is new again.
What's old is new again, my friend. Just like some of the things we're going to talk about today, we are kind of going back to the future, Marty. We're going back to the future with this episode. We've been doing these interviews and a lot of great interviews.
Oh, absolutely.
We're getting a lot of good feedback from people, and we hope everyone have enjoyed the interviews. You and I were talking late last week, and we said, let's go on. Let's do a little State of NoVA, right? A little State of NoVA address.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about all year kind of stuff that we'd want to change, and there's a lot to talk about, right? I mean, there's a lot of news. I mean, I don't know where you want to start first. I don't know if you start with the coaching news is. I don't know if you want to start with the state of.
Yeah, let's start with the kind of the coaching news, right? I mean, that's kind of the headline in NoVA football, right? Is what everyone's talking about. People are walking out of schools, doing all types of stuff, right? I mean, you know, our pets' heads are falling off. You know, all types of stuff is going on. Yeah. So let's go there. Let's go there. So what we know, there's still some jobs that are up in the air.
There are.
Let's start. Let's start from what we know. The jobs that have been filled.
Yeah. So Woodson High School has filled their position. I think we were talking about it with Coach McBride.
Coach McBride from Yorktown.
Yorktown coach.
Yep.
You know, he's come in. So they've filled that position. They have filled the let's see. Maybe we just stay in Fairfax first. They filled the Langley job with Coach Pottinger.
Yep.
But that was a no-brainer. I mean, lead a team to the playoffs. I mean,
yeah, when you're gonna kill it the way he killed it.
Yeah.
Like I know, and you know, and you got to apply for jobs. And people apply for the Langley job, and good for them. They should. And if you're a young coach, it's always good to get experience applying for jobs. So I'm never gonna hate on anyone for applying for jobs. But you would have been a fool to not think that if that man was going for that job, that man was keeping that job. That man did an outstanding job this past year.
Yeah, and I do agree with you. I think it does work well for you to apply for a job. Every now and then, I have no intention of being a head coach ever again. But then I think to myself, you know what? I think I'd like to go kind of exercise my legs and kind of see how I do in an interview.
Right.
Kind of go through the paces, you know, just kind of get used to it. And also, if you're a young coach and you can get an interview, just even the first round of interviews, right? You'll have an idea of what they'll ask and
right.
And you can always ask for feedback. I mean, unfortunately, you don't get it all the time, but I do think that kind of stretching your legs a little bit. So yeah.
No, I agree. So you had Coach Pottinger. We saw that one. The most recent one, I think, at least locally, was in Fairfax County, was Justice with Coach Robinson.
Yes.
And I believe he was on staff already. So they're keeping it in the family kind of, which I guess, you know, makes sense. You know, first time. You're seeing one interesting thing, and we'll talk about more as we go on through the spring and the summer and all that. And you and I kind of like this. A lot of new blood.
Yeah,
a lot of coaches.
A lot of first-time head coaches.
First-time head coaches.
And I talked before about how I felt like Fairfax in particular, we're kind of just recycling old coaches. I felt like that's what we're going through. But I think that there may be a change, right? Well,
right.
Change the guard. And it could be also like, I think you're starting to have a lot of, you know, I can think of a couple of DSAs off the top of my head who have been around for a long time and they're gone. So new people are in there. So maybe they're not nearly as comfortable. We did forget about Herndon, and we interviewed him, but he is a new head coach.
I guess because the Herndon and Yorktown, which we're about to say, but we had talked about those. We had interviewed those guys. So we took it for granted everyone already knew. But you're right. Josh Richards at Herndon, and then Coach Hicks at Yorktown.
Coach Hicks at Yorktown. Both former DCs who got the job. Kind of again another in-house candidate. So while not new coaches, they're both in-house.
Matter of fact, are all those jobs we just said? People that other than the Woodson with Coach McBride, all the other ones kept it in the family.
They did.
Pretty interesting there, right? And then we'll go west, young man. We'll go west. Hilton with Coach Cologne, also in the family. He was on staff.
Also on staff.
And then Colgan with Coach White coming into Colgan.
Yeah, at
Brentsville.
Coming a really successful program.
Yeah.
Colgan looking in the really difficult district to make the playoffs in. You know, that's one where they have 20 some plus teams.
Right.
Spots. So, but he's come with a lot of success. So, you know, but moving up, I think they're a 4A. I think they're a 4A school. So
I think so too. So almost everyone keeping it in the family, which is interesting. That's interesting, right? And then, so, you know, we went west, and those are kind of the jobs that have been filled.
Park. We do not have a Forest Park name.
Sorry about that. Forest Park was Coach Benson. Sorry about that. Thought I had that. So Coach Benson at Forest Park. And he's coming over from somewhere too, which I don't recall where. Not in the family. So he was not at Forest Park previously. I'm not mistaken though. Sorry, Coach Benson was a Hilton grad though. So he is a PW guy.
Hilton grad. But yeah, any of those coaches out there, you know, if you know a coach, and we'd love to talk to them and kind of hear what they think about their new digs a little bit. Would be exciting to hear from you, those guys.
Outstanding. So yeah, any coaches out there, and even coaches I've had a couple of coaches reach out to us, and they're saying, "Hey, can we get on the pod?" So we're talking to some coaches. You don't need to be a brand new coach.
Yeah.
You want to come on and talk? We can do that. Just DM us, and we'll talk. We got a couple we're talking to right now. We've got to make time though, because it's moving. Things are moving, right? And we still got our players.
Yeah.
We got our player interviews. We got a bunch of collegiate guys that are going to be on our show coming up soon too. And then 7-on-7 season. So time is moving.
Yeah. At first I thought you were going to tease something because we may have a big announcement coming up.
We might have it. We kind of have a big announcement now, but we're going to wait because it might be a bigger announcement.
Might have a bigger announcement, but some things are brewing with the All Hitches podcast, which
that's right.
Be great for everybody out there.
I mean, we might need a theme song, going forward, and it might be the Jefferson song.
Moving on up
to the high rise, baby.
On the east side, apartments in the sky.
On the east side, baby. So we're moving on up. So that announcement, we will wait on that because it could be a big announcement. Could be a bigger announcement.
There's a lot of things in the works right now, but things that I think will really enhance everybody's enjoyment of Friday nights. Everyone's hoping that we could shine some light, and we may get a bat signal on Friday.
Yes, could be, and it could be bigger than the Dash and Dance sandwich, and that's a big sandwich.
It's a pretty big
sandwich. And if it's bigger than that sandwich, it's big.
It could be.
It's big.
Bigger than bigger than a Dominion yacht. Bigger than a Dominion yacht.
I miss this. I miss the banter. I wish it was fall all over again. I mean, I don't in terms of the school year being over and summertime and warm weather. That I look forward to. But outside of that, who doesn't want fall, right? Early fall.
Yeah.
Not a care in the world.
Yeah.
Just football. So I do miss that. Meanwhile, we got our last football this coming Sunday, and then that's it for a long time, my friend.
All right. And we have a few open. I think we should get to this. We have a few open jobs.
We do. The ones that are, some of them might be imminent, to be filled, and some might be a while. We'll go in order. I feel like the Gainesville job should be one of the ones that is filled soon, I would imagine. So the Gainesville, and that's a great job. You're not talking about that job.
It's a fantastic job.
Right. Back in January, early January, we talked about that.
Unlike some of those other programs, there's some expectations when you.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Other jobs that we're kind of waiting on. I think in order from that have been around the longest. Mount Vernon.
Wild thing, because the tweet before that coach was looking for coaches, and then the next tweet was due to some rule with the FCPS.
I didn't know about that rule. The rule of I guess it's in the books, but from my understanding, the way that the tweet was written, if you get a job, if you leave your job as a teacher, I guess with prejudice, like in the middle of the year,
lose everything.
Then you have to leave all your county jobs.
Yeah. So that's
even the ones that have a separate contract that aren't tied to your day job. So interesting stuff there. Strange things are afoot at the Circle K, my friend.
And then I think then we have two of the more high profile jobs open up.
Yeah, and which leads us probably to the big talk of today, right? Is the Hayfield job opened up.
Hayfield job, right? Because Coach Overton went to St. James to head their private football program over there.
And we'll talk about that separately, kind of, and our thoughts on that. And then that happened, and then a week later, if not a week later, South County announced, and I just read the principal's email, by the way. The principal made a statement.
Oh, did he?
Made a statement about it, and backed it up, I guess, and said that they're moving on. That I just saw that email. So that was just announced, and Coach Pannoni is now gone at South County, and that job is opening up. So two big jobs there in Hayfield and South County. Wow,
really big jobs. The Hayfield one is interesting because they pretty much ruled that district for quite a few years. I mean, there was a lull. They had about a two-year lull.
Yeah,
not doing as well. The South County one, though, I mean, is there a better job? Is there a more prestigious job, I guess, than South County?
That's a good job, man. A lot of talent over there. Now you're replacing a legend.
Yes.
Right.
His name on the stadium.
Yeah, your name in the stadium. That's a tough one to do, man. That's a tough one. And then I also wonder about the staff. There's a lot of questions, right? Like he had a lot of close staff members, family, friends, that kind of thing.
Staff had been with him for a very long time.
So a lot of questions. And I guess, time will tell, right? Time will be the answer there. What happens there and where do they go and all that stuff. Crazy time. I made a joke kind of a tweet the other day saying the drama never ends.
Yeah,
it never ends. And like it's been a wild football season, and it's been a wild off season already.
Now, pre all Hitches, he used to say all the time, there are jobs every year that open up. They're like, that job opened up. Like there are always jobs every year that you said that you've said it every year. You're like, there's always one or two surprise jobs that open up that you're like, whoa, that's wild. Robinson a couple years ago, right?
Westfield was kind of a late opening, I think, last year.
One opening up. Trying to think of another one that was kind of a high profile job that you were really.
Nothing's going to be as high profile as South County.
I mean, they just want a state title,
right? And even in the fashion that it happened, it's high profile,
right? And there's still a lot of controversy on that,
right? And then the Hayfield, so St. James. I mean, a new school. There's a new school in Loudon. The Loudon school coach Obi Woods is the head coach of that. I just read that. I didn't even know anything about that school until I just read it.
That's not the Virginia Spartans one. It's because he was a Virginia Spartans guy.
Yeah, no, it's called the Loudon. I'll look it up right here. Give you the names. I don't want to sound like a moron, even though I am a moron. But you don't want to sound like one. It is the Loudon. Do I not have it here? Hang on. Loudon Sports Academy. Not its own thing. It's the Loudon Sports Academy. They got their own facility. I don't know where it is, but they have their own facility. Love to know more about it, and I guess we will. Open house coming soon. They just put up there for their sports academy. So you got that academy running head-to-head against St. James Academy. This is the year of the academy, my friend. Police Academy, Steve Gutenberg.
I was just gonna say it. I was just gonna say Police Academy. You got only on one side. You got
That's what we got right now. It's the year of the academy. Who would have guessed it? I mean, that complete this area is bonkers right now, and I love every second of it because it's just fun. It's fun to talk about. It's just fun.
Now the question is I don't think Virginia, I mean, Zero in particular, is big enough to hold those two academies. One of those is going to reign supreme, right? One of them's going to.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Loudon. If you're in Loudon, you got PVI.
Yeah. Right,
but it's a private school. It's a religious school, right? I mean, it's Catholic school. So there is that part of it. Not that some people don't care. I mean, I don't think every single kid who goes to PVI is Catholic, Right. So there's that part of it. I don't know about the money because that's probably anyone's number one thing is costs.
Yes.
But people are going to compare that. And then on this side of the county, then you got St. James, and then they're probably going against what? In Fairfax, you have Flint Hill. Then you have, you got Arlington, Falls Church, Alexandria. You got all the private schools there, O'Connell, and all those schools.
I feel like those schools don't. That's what I'm looking for. Those schools don't necessarily. They're not selling out for sports, right? I feel like those schools are not.
Yeah, no, they're not sports academies.
Not sports academies, or they're not DeMatha, right? They're not Gonzaga that funnel a ton of money into those sports programs to kind of
right, like national programs, right?
Yeah.
No, it's going to be, the whole thing's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun, and we got front row seats, my friend.
We do.
We got front row seats, and it's going to be a blast. And we're going to try and bring this to everybody somehow, some way. Who knows? Maybe our little thing we got going on, big thing we got going on, could help with this. But it's going to be a fun off season for everybody in NoVA, I think.
I agree.
So that's kind of the jobs, right? That popping up, and who knows? And if anything else pops open, we'll make sure to talk about it. And maybe we forgot one. I don't think we forgot one. I think our memories are bad. But
we had 3 in the National, 1 in Patriot, none in Concord. Concord, they're all coming back.
Good old steady Concord, stalwarts.
And then in the Liberty, just Yorktown and Langley.
So yeah, we'll see what happens later on. All right. So the next thing we wanted to talk about, you and I spoke all season, right? All season about things we'd like to see changed, things that could be better, right? And this is our moment. This is our time.
Down here.
Up there, it's their time. Down here, it's our time. And so we're going to talk about it, and we'll start from the top. You and I spoke about this earlier, and we're going to share it with you guys. Starting right from the top, you really feel strongly about enrollment-based classifications, right? So let's talk about it.
Yeah, so I don't think that's a thing anymore. There was a time when it was. There was a time where if you live in a large city, a larger place, schools were just had more kids, and that was the numbers. That's not the case anymore. I don't think you can base athletic programs anymore by enrollment base. I think you need to look at how they do at metrics. There's a lot of metrics now out there. There are websites out there that measure metrics of schools and tell you how good they are as opposed to anything else. And some people are like kind of poo-poo those things, but they're pretty accurate. They can call games at like a 90% clip. They're pretty accurate in what they do. So I think that making classifications by enrollment numbers and just sticking hard and fast to that doesn't work anymore. The example, again, I'm coming from California, they don't have classifications at all during the year. They don't make a classification until you get to the postseason, and then they use those metrics to place the best 16 teams they have an open division, then they have a Division I, Division II, and so you don't know what classification you're in until the end of the season. And I think our understanding was from our good friend Coach Banter is that Illinois has been doing that for a long time as well. They don't know where you fall until the very end, so you won't know what classification you're in. So I think I would rather see that. So there's a couple things, and some people may take this the wrong way, but unfortunately, you're gonna have teams that get in the playoffs that have zero chance of winning the state title. They're just not as good as those teams. They don't have the athletes. They're just not as good. And I'm not saying you can't have a similar story. That does happen on occasion, but for the most part, it doesn't. And so, for example, for a lot of years, the high school I went to in Long Beach, we were good, but we were always considered Division I because we had a high enrollment. And they also put the Catholic schools in there. We'd get modern day. We had zero chance. We could play them tough maybe for a half or something like that, but we had zero chance. And so a lot of schools in Long Beach were like that, where you go and you get the privates and you just couldn't play with them. Now, because of the new system, these teams are having playoff runs. You have multiple teams are getting to the championship game where they couldn't have got there before because all 16 teams are kind of the same. And so all the games are close. Another example would be here in Virginia. We talked about before. Most first round playoff games are blowouts. Yeah. Most first playoff games are double digit scores. So there's a disparity between the first seed and the 8th seed, and there should be, but I think in order to make it so that way, teams go in not being like, well, we fought hard, we had a good season, now we're just going to go in and kind of just get whooped up on, as opposed to teams being able to make a run. And there's something you're going to talk about, but I just want to kind of reiterate why I'm also for this. The more success you have as a football team, the better you're going to be, because more kids for the most part are front runners, and that's not a bad thing. It's just kids want to be part of a winning football program nowadays. And if you show some success, more kids will come out. More kids come out, your program's better, which means you can jump up divisions. So I guess again, I just think having just saying you have 2,000 kids in your school, you should be better than the school that has 1,000 kids. It's just not the case anymore because of the way sports is specialized now.
Okay, so let's do some NoVA examples here.
Okay,
of what you were referring to. So, and you tell me if this is what you mean. Yeah. I'm just going to throw out a really good program like give me something out in Loudon, because Loudon most of Loudon is not 6A.
Stonebridge.
Okay, Stonebridge. So Stonebridge, Tuscarora, right?
Yeah.
Bunch of those schools. You're saying, and I agree, they could easily play with these 6A schools.
Oh, 100%.
Get some of them in, and then maybe pull some of the I'm just going to throw out, no offense to any team, I'm just throwing out random team names here. Maybe a team like who was an 8 seed in Edison. Were they the 8 seed? Okay, so Edison, put them in what we would call 5A, let's say. Right. In this version of 5A that you're talking about, they would play there against teams more like them, and those winning teams would come over. I don't know how people could argue with that. It makes sense.
Yeah, and I think even just for the football fan, I want to see Phoebus play Madison. I want to see that game.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, I want to see those teams play each other. I want to see what happens, right?
Right. Yeah. No, what you're saying makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of these great matchups that we would be able to see.
Yeah.
That right now we can't see. Although people could make them as non, but even then you're which is a different part of our discussion here in a second, but you're penalized. You get penalized for playing a team lower than you, right? Even though they're not lower than you.
I mean, we'll get into that there. I'll talk about that though. But so that's one change I made. Either get rid of classifications and do it at the very end, or have a 2-year reeval every year to look at a team and be like, okay, this team is up, this team needs to move down.
Okay, well, let's tie that to, and I agree with something like that. Now, another change, and it's kind of related to that, so let's just do it. Let's talk about PowerPoints. Now, I know they're talking about this new system of the conferences, and they're going to go, if there's 8 teams, right, or either, they got to bring 8 teams over from each region. They would do 4 from one conference, 4 from the other conference, and that would be 8. I think that should not be a set number.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I think you can even justify 6 and 2, depending on where you're at. You and I've talked about this. I mean, I would say, and again, if I was Dash Goodell, right, of NoVA, I would probably go 5 and 3 Concord. If I'm looking at historically, Concord Liberty right now, 5-3. You can maybe convince me to go 4-4. You could convince me.
Just based on
recently, on recent, right? Okay. But if I went like historically,
which
Oakton and those teams, I'd go 4-4.
Which I think there should be a 2-year reevaluation every year, right? Okay, let's look at it.
Yeah, I agree. They're talking about that the 8-team thing. If you go 4-4, I would not go 4-4, and you could not talk me into 4-4 in Patriot versus National.
Yeah,
you could not talk me into that. 5-3, you might be able to talk me into it, but if I'm on the Patriot side of that discussion, I'm shooting 6 and 2.
I agree.
And then you revisit it every 2 years, and if it warrants it, you up it. I mean, that's how I would look at it right now.
I will say this though about this new rule: letting these regions kind of make their own rules as they see fit is ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. In itself, that is ridiculous. I agree.
VHSL needs to come in and be like, "This is the rule. This is what we're doing. This is happening." But
fix the PowerPoints. Well, to our point, I'm not a fan of the 6-2, 5. I'm not a fan of that anyways.
Yeah.
Fix the PowerPoints. How about this? How about if you were going to play a team, if you are, and I'm not mistaken, I think did Justice play Westfield this year or last year?
I think so. I think. Yeah.
I mean, it never should have happened. We've mentioned that exact matchup before.
Yeah.
But if it was going to happen, there should be a major lift. That should be so worth it to a team like Justice, to a team like Woodson, right? Teams that coming off a struggling season.
Yeah. Playing
a team who had that many wins should be so worth it because of the amount of points. And right now, the points don't justify it at all.
No. And so I think we talk about the other big problem with the PowerPoints is if you are not 6A, you can kind of justify it, right? You can jump up, play a 6A team, get beat, but because you get so many points for playing up, plus their wins, it makes a ton of sense.
Right.
But for a 6A team to say, all right, so let's say for Westfield, it actually hurts them to go play Stonebridge as opposed to playing a team that went. So I love the Woodson kids, but they wouldn't win this last year.
Yeah, sure.
They get more points for playing Woodson than they do for playing Stonebridge.
Right.
Why would they play down? So I think, especially the other divisions, it helps because you can jump up, you can play a team, and you can play a struggling team. Like you could be a 4A team, play a struggling 5A team, and just get a ton of points from it because you jumped up. For 6A, there's nowhere to jump up, and so you hit the ceiling. That's the problem.
No, you need to be rewarded, hefty reward for playing a good team, right? Every win is worth however many more points than it already was because it needs to be worth it. You and I've talked about this again. We're part of Woodson. We've seen it, and they're going to rebuild and do great things. But for years at trying to rebuild, but a schedule coming off a strong season, not a strong season, but having a schedule of 9 playoff teams, right, doesn't make any sense. That's hard to rebuild. At least you could argue if you're going to play that kind of a schedule, get a bunch of points for it.
Yes,
it makes no sense the way the points are currently done.
Well, I think that might lead us into our next one, scheduling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll talk a little about in California and New Mexico. The person who makes the schedule is the head coach. Period. There's no putting your number of who you want first, who you want second, who you want third. Coach Dash coaches at Team A. I say, hey, Coach Dash, I'm looking for a game on week 3. You want to play? He says yes. He says no. Oh, okay. So it is. I am on the phone, reaching out to people. I put out there. So on the CIF website, which is our VHSL, you put in, I need games 4 or 5 weeks 1, 2, and 3. And then people start sending you emails. You start looking at schools. You start evaluating who you think, every year we would go on the board and been like, okay, here are the teams. We go through the end of the year. Here are the teams we want to play. And then let's make a list we will rank them, but then we send emails out, hey, would you be interested this week, that week, this week, that week? I think the DSA's making the schedule. The person who would know best what's best for their team is their head coach. Their head coach should be making their schedule, period. And unfortunately, I think there may be DSAs out there who have other things in mind besides wins.
Well, it's gate. I mean, they want certain matchups because they want to bring audience or whatever in, which is silly to me because if you just, and again, rebuilding programs, instead of throwing them to the wolves, you can get, you'll get gate eventually, right? It's the old, if you build it, they will come.
If you win games, if you win 2 games in a row, guess what? Game 3, people are coming to the game because now all of a sudden they're like, oh, look at, they're winning again.
Right.
So you again, just going to scheduling, DSA should not be making schedules. DSAs and districts should have zero calls on who a head coach decides he wants to play for his football team. If he wants to play the best teams out there, then let him schedule his games. But if you have a head coach, he has the best pulse of his kids. And I think penalizing them and not letting him do what he thinks is best for his team. So, for example, I think the class of 24, Aiden's class, you could have been like, okay, this year we're gonna schedule up some games. I think these guys can play with some people. Let's schedule up. Let's play those guys. So maybe you have a better idea, right? Maybe you have a good season, didn't have a very good season before. You think those kids are matured, so then you'll take a game up. But yeah, I think that head coaches should be in charge of that schedule. Period.
No, I agree with you. And the other thing tied in, which we kind of glossed over, we kind of indirectly mentioned it. Apparently, now when the ADs should involve themselves is if there's some weird thing going on where certain schools won't play certain schools, right? Now, if you're in a conference and you refuse to play your neighboring conference in your same region, then someone's got to step in and say, no. Now, if it's unfair, and I'll use examples that I'm just making up, right? I'm just making them up. But, Lake Braddock's coming off back-to-back. I mean, they're a complete powerhouse right now. I wouldn't make Lake Braddock play Annandale, who's Annandale's rebuilding right now, right? And that's fine. I wouldn't make that matchup happen. Now, Woodson rebuilding right now. Annandale's rebuilding. That would be a perfect matchup, and their neighbors and an old rival. But that would be a great matchup. I'm not saying that was supposed to happen or not, but that would be a great matchup. And if there's some kind of weird blockage of people not allowing those kind of matchups to happen, that's insane.
Well, and I think the other thing that maybe we talk about the regions, and if you want to have a 5-3, a 4-4 split, then it should just be region games. You don't get to play to be outside the region. There's enough teams to play that you play just in the region. If you're gonna force a split and been like our top 4 teams to get in, that's fine, but you gotta play us.
Right.
You gotta play the other district. You can't,
no doubt.
You can't just take the playoff spot and then not have to play teams from the other district.
No, well said. Well said. So that kind of brings us to, one big one we've talked about, realignment. Now, I just mentioned, and for example, and I love that one because they're neighbors and it's an old rivalry, Woods and Annandale. But they need to really look at things with and even if they wanted to keep things, I've been saying this forever. If they like the way things are right now, let's just say theoretically the powers that be do like it, I would do some minor switching. And this is one that I've been big on. I would, and to your point, there needs to be a power that comes in and makes these decisions, not letting everyone vote and everything just stay status quo all the time, right? If they want to let us do it, we can do it. We will step up and we will do this.
We would make fantastic regions.
We have no biases. Right now, what I would do off the top, make it nice and easy, nice and quick. I would take South County, West Potomac, and AC. This is really easy. This is at its simplest. We can go. I know you and I can talk about this for hours, but at its simplest, I would take those 3 schools and I'd put them in national. And I would take Annandale, Falls Church, and give me one more. We'll say Justice.
Lewis.
Right?
Lewis,
Justice, whatever. Either one. And I put them in. Boom. You have now balanced out 2 conferences.
Yeah.
Look at that. And actually, the crazy part about that is geographically, even makes more sense now.
Yeah.
So actually, not only did I balance it out, but I actually made it make more sense geographically. And that took about all of 3 seconds? Come on.
Well, another thing, I think some of our districts are too big. We have a lot of schools. I think they're too big. I would rather see districts be down to about 6 teams. So that way you get 5 district games and then you get 5 out of district games, right? And going back to what I said before, and then you can schedule the 5 teams around that you think make more sense. I think that is a doable thing. I know regions wise, they're like, we'll see. I personally think it would work, but a 6-team region, five regular school season games, and then
how about out west?
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about that those conferences.
Yeah.
And Prince William, I mean, there's like 1 million teams in that one conference.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean,
in that one region. Sorry, in that one region.
Yeah. They've got to fix that because it's really unfair to that Stafford, Woodbridge.
Yes.
Or that Stafford Prince William thing is just,
they had like 6-win teams, 7-win teams not getting in the playoffs last year.
Meanwhile, in the one down south. But that's the other problem, though, is when you start basing it all off of school enrollment, right? So you can't balance that out. If you don't base on school enrollment, you can balance out. But yeah, I do agree. Realignment needs to happen. And it's not like these teams have been in the same district forever, right? These
right.
Teams, I mean, it's relatively in the last, 10, 15 years?
Yeah. It's all relatively new.
Yeah, because Madison used to be a Liberty. It used to be a Liberty district team, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, they're always changing stuff. Who knows where it goes from here? But those are just...
what's going to happen when Loudon jumps up?
Yeah. And they keep talking about that happening.
I mean, it's going to happen.
It will.
It's going to happen sooner than later, right? I mean,
it will.
Loudon is exploding a county, right? I mean, it
definitely will happen soon. So again, just some change. And I've had, I had one person tell me, because we've been talking to other coaches and stuff about this, and one told me, how about get rid of the districts? He said just regions, 2 regions. I think it's football. Not for everybody. He's saying for football.
Yeah.
He's like, get rid of that. Just have your 2 regions and just go from there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot you could do, a lot more creative things you could do than what we currently have going on. Who knows?
I feel like we're still holding. I feel like here they're still holding on to old things that just don't work. I mean, especially Northern Virginia it's just becoming more and more metropolitan. It's becoming more and more.
Yep.
People, and I think it just doesn't necessarily work the same anymore.
Now the last one, and we had said some of these a while back, but we'll kind of reiterate just really quickly, I guess, because we had said it back in our Hayfield show back in August.
Yeah.
We talked about some of the rules for transfers because right now there's a lot going on with the whole transfer thing, obviously, and it's bigger than just a Hayfield thing. We've talked about this. They just need to just put things in make this a little more less cloudy.
Yeah.
Either you're going to allow stuff or you're going to put the kibosh on things and be really strict about stuff.
Yeah, there needs to be strict paperwork. And I think I talked before about what happens, if you have to show that you've left your former residence, that either you have terminated your lease and you terminated all your things over there. You have to show the termination stuff, your lease, the electric bill, the water bill, all these things that you stated. You show that you're turning on the new place. And like I said, in California, you can't have a 6-month lease. It's got to be a year-long lease, which I don't think is a problem. And in reality, you're talking about a very small amount of people that this would actually affect.
Right.
Truth be told, right?
Right.
But again, I think there needs to be strict and hard rules on how this all needs to happen.
Or no rules.
Or just let people do whatever they want to do.
Right.
And I'm not saying this would fix everything. There's always going to be somebody who's going to figure out a way around it. There's always somebody who's going to eat or figure out how to do things. I mean, that's just the way sports work nowadays, unfortunately. But yeah, I just think at this point, they either need to tighten the screws on everybody, which is fine, or they need to, like you said, just kind of throw their hands up and been like, do it.
Right. Well, that's kind of our quick version of sort of how to make things better.
Yeah,
and that's a book coming out to soon by Dan Mesa. Gonna write that book, and he's gonna make a lot of money off that book.
Yeah, yeah, all $6. My mom will probably buy it.
I'll buy one too.
And if you have anything else, other suggestions, please comment. And
yes,
we'll talk about it. We'll
yes.
talk about whatever you want to talk about. I mean, yeah,
we want more rules. More rules. There's not rules. There's chaos.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, now this brings us to a kind of a celebratory part of the show, right? We have our good friend, long time no see, and I'm getting a message from him right now. He's so excited. The Adam Schefter of NoVA, Carl J. Frederick, joining us in just a few minutes, and we're excited to see him. We are going to talk about a bunch of commitments, right? People have committed to schools, and it's that time of year. Everyone's happy. They're wearing the hats. They're wearing the T-shirts, shaking hands, kissing babies. I mean, I look a year. Look, I'm wearing my son's school shirt. I mean, a year ago, I was shaking hands and kissing babies with him.
Sure.
It's a proud time for families. It really is. I'm all about it.
Well, considering what a small percentage of kids going to play college sports in general, right? I mean,
6%. 6 at last check. 6% of student athletes from high school go on to play college sports.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting. It's a good time in your life, and these are guys who are going on continue on their education, right? And we're gonna, kind of enjoy themselves. I see he's coming on. He's connecting his audio.
Look at that! Happy New Year! Happy Groundhog's Day! All the above. Get that audio fixed, buddy. The Adam Schefter from Prep Red Zone, Carl Frederick. We're so excited to have him on. Long time coming. And nobody circles the wagons when it comes to commits like Carl Frederick.
And he's a big Eagles fan, right?
He is. He's getting ready. That's why there's no volume. He's getting ready for the game.
Maybe he's
getting ready for the game. But I mean,
he's got "Fly Eagles Fly" going on in the background.
He does. He's trying to mute the music. Look, when we knew we wanted to talk about college commitments, right? You and I talked, and we said, hey, let's get Carl Frederick on. Nobody knows area commits the way he knows area commits.
Well, there he is.
What's up, gentlemen?
There he is, the man, the myth. It's good to see you, buddy.
Likewise, gentlemen. How you been?
Good. Doing well.
Grinding. Awesome. Grinding one day at a time, my friend, one day at a time. Like Schneider, one day at a time.
I love it. Can't believe you don't have Monday Night Raw in the background, Coach.
I should. I just had someone a shout out to our good friend Coach Aziz. Big wrestling fan. He was talking to me about wrestling. I told him I'm more in the Tito Santana era. Rick Martel, those guys. I don't
Big Jay Uso with the big Royal Rumble win last night.
That's what he said.
That's what he
said. Yeah.
Son of Rikishi. Son of Rikishi.
Very good. Look at you dropping the wrestling knowledge. Yeah, that was a fun Rumble.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. People were excited about it.
Good.
Well, Carl, we talked about this. Mason and I were saying at work, we were like, we got to get Carl on. If we're talking commitments, no one knows it better than Carl, the Adam Schefter of NoVA. He's going to break it down and get into it, man. A lot of and I know things are still happening. So there's obviously going to be a lot more commitments over the next, month and a half, 2 months. But where are we at right now, man? We're happy for these guys. Let's talk about it.
Heck yeah. It's been it's really, really starting to pick up, especially this last month. And it's really, really this last week too. You saw a lot of commitments the last couple of weeks. So I went through all of Northern Virginia. I went through the Prep Red Zone top 100 2025 kids and beyond that too. And there's still a few kids that haven't signed yet, but there's a lot of time. You guys know recruiting's a lot different than what we're used to. But let's start out with Gainesville. They just had Colton Kilmer, their all-world quarterback, who we had as a top 100 ranked kid. He just signed with Shippensburg, my neck of the woods.
Okay.
PSAC. Yeah. Coven Smith, he came back after the knee injury, had a great senior year. He will be playing at Lafayette College.
So
Nice.
So I'm just curious because I remember before he had a Syracuse offer right earlier.
After his sophomore. Yeah. I believe after his sophomore year, he had Syracuse and close to 6 or 7 other offers, and a lot of schools were in contact. But I guess Lafayette College made a late push here, and he just signed with them about a week ago.
You figure he might be a portal kid, right? I mean, he obviously had D1 talent beforehand. He shows out at Lafayette.
Yeah, I mean, this is when you look at a lot. I'll read off a lot of these names, guys, and you'll see it's similar to that. Like, and I'm not saying like every kid's going to do this, but you guys know the trends. A lot of kids will take these maybe possibly lower school commitments, have a good year, and then they're in the portal a year later.
Yeah.
So, I mean, going out, Gainesville, who had a great senior class. Surratt Gill, he signed on with Shippensburg as well. Jack Smoot, one of our top recruits, actually decommitted from Central Michigan, and he just signed with Norfolk State.
Oh, okay.
Stayed home.
Yeah. Jeremy Stith will be going to Davidson, and Greg Davidson will be going to Glenville State.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. And then going down the line, Woodbridge, my guy Salman Amasquai, excellent receiver. He's going to Shippensburg, and their good lineman, Tyler Opong, is going to Shippensburg as well. So Shippensburg. Wow.
Shippensburg cleaning up in Nova. I like that.
Yeah, I had to text my buddy, an old alumni from Shippensburg. I asked if him and his college roommates were dipping in the NIL fund for Shippensburg. They nailed like 4 guys from Northern Virginia.
What division are they?
Division 2, playing the PSAC. Good.
Now, are these kids just committing, or are they scholarship kids, or do we know?
A lot of these are committed. Some of these kids have signed too. I mean, I guess some are different. Like I don't go to Forest Park here, for example. They had Nathaniel Wright. I think he's already at Virginia Tech. He might have already signed, or I know he's been committed to Virginia Tech. That's their big offensive lineman. And Brandon Nadozi, their other big offensive lineman, who's still kind of new to the game. He's a big-time athlete. He's committed to Liberty.
That was preseason. Landon Hunt, where did he end up signing?
He was one of my notables I have down at the bottom. He hasn't signed anywhere yet. He has a couple of nice offers. He just got an offer from Ferrum. I believe Glenville State offered him earlier in the process, but he has a lot of Division 3 and Division 2 offers. I would expect to see him signing here committing in the next couple of weeks. The recruiting, he had a great senior year, great career there for Forest Park. But yeah, I mean, Nathaniel Wright was like one of our top 50 ranked prospects out of this class. He's been committed to Virginia Tech for quite some time, and Brandon Adozi's been committed to Liberty for quite some time. Going down, Garfield, James Blacker, he just committed to Ferrum University, another Division 2 school today. My dude Herman Jackson, one of the best prospects I've seen in quite some time. I don't see him active much on social media, so he hasn't signed yet, in case you're wondering about Action Jackson.
And sometimes those kids, they haven't gone through the clearinghouse yet. Some of those kids have not gone through. And I don't know if the NCAA has started to put SATs back on the table for these kids yet, because I know for the COVID they had taken away, but I'm not sure if clearinghouse has kind of put those kids that's back on the table for all.
I saw a breaking news. Kettle Run, Jake Mulhern, who's I think is a good quarterback.
Yeah, good year.
Randolph Macon.
Oh, okay.
He went ahead and committed. He committed today.
Nice.
Yeah, I like Jake Mulhern. He's a good quarterback.
He had a great career there for Kettle Run.
I love those undersized quarterbacks. You know that, Coach.
You do. You'll see a lot more. I would be in the next couple weeks. You'll see a lot more of these top name prospects from Northern Virginia committing. But keep going down. Jackson McCarter, remember he decommitted from Villanova and committed to James Madison, and Tyler Knutson just committed last Friday to Emory and Henry.
That's right. Good. That's a good pull for them. Good get.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I like him.
He had he had a great career there for Patriot, and really came on his senior year. And led them to a near state title. Had a great career there. Now next, Battlefield. This is the big one. I mean, and they still have a few kids that haven't signed yet, but so you got Jaden Hines going to Stevenson University. Cole Woodson, he's been committed to Pittsburgh for quite some time. Cameron Binkowski, another long line of that stud family. He's going to Army. Sage Davis hasn't committed yet. I know he has a couple of D2 and Division III offers, but expect his commitment soon. They're outstanding back. And now Hilton, my dude Logan Marshall, he just committed to Virginia Military Academy today, or VMI, I should say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I saw Coach Van Acker give him a nice message there. So he has a kid who had a lot of D1 offers, and it was nice to see that come through. Now the big one, Hayfield. So Juju Preston, you guys know he was our 11th. Yeah, Clemson. He was the 11th ranked recruit in our class. Jeffrey Overton Jr. is at Virginia Tech. Our guy Vincent Ordonez is committed to St. Francis University. Really happy for him. Ian Hall will be going to Navy. Devin Reeves, their big time linebacker, will be at Akron. And Ja'Kai Hughes is at West Virginia State. I don't think their quarterback French has committed yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a little. He didn't get a lot of action early on. It picked up a little bit with French, but I know early on we were kind of looking around and wondering what was going on there.
I know he had some Division II looks. I want to say St. Francis offered him too, but I could be mistaken on that. But I think more opportunities are coming for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a talented kid. Yeah, talented kid, big kid, strong arm.
Now I'm going down the line. James Madison, Dominic Nisley, he's already at Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know.
Teddy Lewis, their good lineman, he just committed to Claremont McKenna College. You know where that's at, Coach?
McKenna?
Yeah, Claremont McKenna.
No.
And Ari Rosenberg, it will be going to Washington and Lee.
Okay, yeah, good school. Good school.
And Ambrose, our world linebacker, Mr. Everything, he has not committed yet.
CNU was pretty interested in him, I think, right? Wasn't CNU showing a lot of interest in him?
I thought they offered. I know.
I think they did.
I think more Division II schools will be calling at him soon. I mean, this is kind of that time of the year for Division II and Division III schools. You guys know
I mean, if they knew it was good for them, they would reach out to him. I mean, he's an absolute animal.
No, I agree. I wish.
What's up? California? Is that the one you're talking about?
That's what I was asking you. I was asking you, Coach.
McKenna.
Yeah, I know of Claremont. Yeah. Oh, so he's going to Claremont. Oh, so he's going all the way across country. Okay.
Claremont McKenna College. What is?
He must have really good grades.
And then going down to South County, Hunter Malachi, he's going to Old Dominion, one of the best D linemen in the state.
Okay.
They have a couple guys. Tyler Orth is not committed yet. There's all-purpose wide receiver, play a little quarterback for them.
My understanding, though, he's a baseball kid.
Yeah.
I was just going to say.
You never know, but yeah, that's his number one from our understanding. But you never know, right?
Yeah, I had a good talk with his parents at the All-Star game. They were going to, how baseball season kind of dragged out with him. But he can play at the next level. That kid can play. Steve Karoma, he just got an offer from Bridgewater today. He hasn't committed yet.
And he got a Stevenson offer, I think, yesterday.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that makes sense. I bet a lot of D3 schools will be after him hard. And Jordan Muhani, the big-time tackle, I know he has a couple of D1 PWOs and a couple of D2 offers. I would expect him committing soon. He's an outstanding young lineman. Now, off the Flint Hill, a little private school action for you. Victor McNeil will be going to Army. Luke Richardson, who, was a top lineman, and he tore his ACL right before week one. He'll be going to, I believe it's called Tufts University.
Yeah.
And Caleb West.
That's speaking of good grades, you get into Tufts.
Oh, so you know where that is?
Yeah, it's good lacrosse and really good academics.
Okay. Is that up north? Where is that school?
Yeah, I think it's up north.
Okay. And the other thing too, this is Caleb West just signed with or committed to Emory and Henry as well. So they're going to get Knudsen and West going there.
Wow. I saw the big tight end, Max Toronto, right? Elon.
Yep. I got a whole list. So we'll go to Yorktown. Max Triano. I always thought he was kind of underrated because that Yorktown has Brady Owens, who's going to be one of the top prospects in all of Virginia next year. But Triano had a great senior year. He'll be going to Elon and don't forget about quarterback Drew Morgan. He's going to go to Kenyon College as well.
Right.
And we got Lake Braddock. Now they'll have a few more, but obviously Kai Austin and Xavier Main are going to William and Mary. But guys like Trent Payne, Marwin Diab, and Robert Julian, they haven't signed, or JT Bordeaux, I haven't seen if they committed yet. But I saw an announcement about Lake Braddock having.
They're doing National Signing Day. I'd assume though at this point, I don't think they're going to announce at National Signing Day. I think they're going to sign. I think.
Okay, that was a whole thing. That wasn't just football.
Yeah.
Well, they're just going to have the ceremonial, right? Ceremonial.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was to announce other commitments, but just Kai Austin and Xavier Main, Herndon, Braden Humphreys, he'll be going to Sacred Heart.
Yeah.
And Westfield, Troy Lucas, tackling machine. He's going to go to Slippery Rock, another PSAC, another hometown or home state connect. In Centerville, Menelec Pilgrim will be going to Army.
You know what's funny, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we've been talking about this, so it's just kind of like we talked about this 2 months ago or a month and a half ago with some of our guests, some of our college coach guests, and then now we're seeing it play out in front of us. A lot of these guys in years past are PWOs, at Division I programs, and now a lot of them are doing sort of the same thing at Division II, like you said earlier, to try and get that film. And maybe, I'm not saying all of them, I'm just talking in general.
Right.
Here. The ones that I felt could have walked on and made teams is who I'm referring to. Those guys now are going to do it this way and go the Division II route, get some film probably, and then try and make that transfer next year, the year after.
Yeah, it's going to be more and more common the way college football is going now. I mean, I've had kids tell me that too. I'm not going to name names, but there's kids here in Pennsylvania I worked with that when I asked them, man, you had offers from so-and-so here. Why'd you take this one? And they'll tell me, I just need a year or two there of film. And then I put my name in the portal. That's, and because now they're bigger schools are waiting to send offers until the portals go
right.
through. So it's a lot of changing things. So, it's still look at the talent in Northern Virginia alone.
Yeah.
And then the names I list, some of the schools you got: Virginia Tech, Army.
I don't know if you. I don't know. I didn't hear you talk about. Did the running back from Westfield, Duda? He's a senior, correct?
Right. I checked his today, Coach. I didn't see anything.
Wow.
But I will warn kids who are like, I'm going to go here for a year and then try to hit the portal. It's not. I mean, last year I think we talked about how many scholarship kids were in the portal.
Right.
Yeah. Still.
I mean, I don't know. I think sometimes these guys are getting bad advice. You better pick a school that you want to go to.
Yeah. I was going to say, like the school. As long as you like the school that you're picking, and that way if you decide not to, at least you like the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope when some of these kids are committing, guys, that's part of their reasoning, though. They want to commit there not just to play ball, but also for the school. Like, what are you going to study? What's your plan? Things like that. So you hope, because these are some great schools these kids committed to.
Yeah, they're all good schools. Callum O'Shea. I call Callum O'Shea. Did you say his name earlier?
He's a junior coach.
The junior.
Oh, well, either way, I saw he got one of his, he got some offers recently, so that's good.
Yeah, he just got the Cornell offer. That's probably should start to trickle in more FCS or higher level looks for him. I just talked to him over the weekend. He's rehabbing well. He feels great.
That's right. He had the injury. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he'll still be one of our top ranked 2026 kids when those rankings come out in a couple weeks. But yeah, no, he got the Cornell offer. I was, just like you guys, I was pumped to see that. especially with everything he went through, getting hurt late in the year. You might worry that could affect his process, but now that should be a trigger effect. I know schools like Yale and Harvard are pretty interested too. So good for him.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you rattle these names out and throw them out there. These are great names, great kids, had great careers. It's a happy moment, right? It's a happy moment for those families and for those student athletes, for their coaches, all that stuff, man. I love it. Love to see it. I love to see it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talent. I mean, after I update the rankings, I'll have to come back on, and because this junior class is going to have a lot of high-level talent too. I already talked about Brady Owens out of Yorktown. He already has a few Division I offers. What's the kid, Davin Tolson from Fairfax? There's going to be a lot of
Tolson.
him. That kid can play. There's a lot of names. I'm just going through this now. Battlefield. By the way, when you guys did your predictions for next year, did you guys not pick Battlefield to win it all? Did you guys pick Fairfax?
Hey, you know what? Don't worry about my predictions. Are you trying to take my picks and go to the MGM in Fairfax? I'm not. No,
I'm going to take Battlefield over whoever you guys pick.
We always joke around about the fake MGM in Fairfax, right? I just read they're building a casino over in Tyson's Corners. I don't know if that's true or not, but I just read this. So
really,
or it's being discussed.
Did it pass?
Discussed. I don't know.
There's one in National Harbor though. Why would they? Oh well.
Well, I mean,
because you want Virginia money to stay in Virginia.
Yeah, that's right. NoVA.
Yeah, got you.
NoVA wants to keep that money. NoVA wants to keep that hard-earned money here.
Battlefield has. I mean, that would be my pick. I don't know who you guys pick, but it looked like you guys are high on the Fairfax train for next year. Maybe I
think that was me that said that. I think Mason laughed at me. Now that was my.
Did we do a next year prediction?
The prediction was the way too early prediction. It's called the way too early prediction, Carl. It's called the way too early prediction. It's supposed to create a buzz. It's supposed to get people talking. Supposed to get everyone stirred up.
It definitely did.
We got 7-on-7 season starting soon, Carl. 7-on-7.
Yes,
and
yes, sir. Yep.
You are welcome to join us at some 7-on-7s and watch.
Yeah. What where are you guys going to be at for that? Like, what's your guys' plan?
We were talking about hitting up South County at some point, doing some 7-on, and I know they're going to have one there. We think that there's a new regime coming in now, so hopefully they keep their 7-on-7s going there.
Yeah. Okay.
But that was one. The old days you had St. James. I don't know if that's a thing anymore either. Times they are changing, as Bob Dylan said.
I've planned Prep Red Zone has a bunch of stuff going on with 7-on-7. I mean, they have a big tournament coming up in March in Upper Marlboro. We're also coming back. We had a great event at the showcase over at the Horizon Sports Edge Complex in Harrisonburg. Shout out to them for hosting. We had close to about 82 kids exactly show up, and we're going to be back there come May, so that's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, no, I mean, 7-on-7s, I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be doing some stuff possibly with the PME crew, with Coach Issa and Overton. You know, they got new things going on, as you guys know, with Overton taking the job at St. James. Congrats to him.
Yeah, are you going to do like a like Adam Schefter like? Are you going to do like a story on them and kind of, because a lot of people have a lot of questions, and I was thinking about reaching out to them just to ask. It's funny. I don't even want to, and if the Overtons listen to this, if we do get around to having them come on the show, I don't even want to talk about a year ago. I don't even care about the Hayfield stuff anymore. What I want to talk about actually is people have questions about how things work over there and all that kind of stuff. I'm just curious. Yeah. Are you going to get some of that lowdown?
I mean, I plan to. Yeah. I mean, my son's obviously interested in enrolling into their, private academy too. That starts at a young age. But I mean, in terms of like an article, the only site I would want to write an article about that for is you guys. So if you guys want that, yes, we can make that happen.
Oh, make it happen. Let's do it.
All right.
And Mace's retweaking the website. If you go to the website, you're gonna notice some of it. The construction sign, the hard hat, and and the little pail. Because you know what, we're reworking it. We're working everything. This new year is going to be on steroids, my friend.
Like I said,
I love that.
We might have some pretty big announcements. So
big announcements coming. A couple of them, Carl. We got some big things coming. revamping the website, all that stuff. And yeah, if you get that interview going with them,
oh, they love it. They love you guys, man. We can make that happen.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, we're trying to get through some. We've done a bunch of interviews and we just haven't put them out yet. We got a bunch of students.
Yeah, that's great stuff.
College athletes now coming out. We'll do a little teaser here. We got a JMU linebacker coming up. We got a Holy Cross quarterback. We got some guys coming up that we're going to put out soon. We can kind of waiting on those a little bit, and we're going to put those out in the next week or two.
Man, if people aren't on the old Hitches bandwagon, they need to get on board. They're going to fall behind.
That's right. I love it. I love every second of it.
We appreciate it.
Darn right.
No, guys. Yeah, I'll get that article going. They love you guys, and I mean, it's good.
Not all of them.
What do you say?
Not all of them.
It's all love.
Not all of them. Come on. Everyone loves us. What's not to love? Come on, Mason.
You guys got sandwiches.
Right.
You got you're about
pastrami cheesesteak, man. Come on. Which, by the way, I hope you eat your cheesesteak this weekend. Good luck to your Eagles, my friend. Good luck to your Eagles.
Oh man. Thank you. That's gonna hopefully we can do the work that nobody else has been and take down
please
the
save
devil.
us, Eagles. Please save us.
Please end this dumb dynasty, please.
Oh yes, tell me about it.
Killing me.
All I'll say is the Eagles have the most talent. This is full homer coming out, but they do have the most talent in the NFL. I've thought that since about week 5 this year. If they lose, it won't be because of talent. I mean, we'll see. You guys know the Chiefs, and this is, they're about to be a three-peat for a reason.
No, they're not going to be a three-peat. They're not going to be a three-peat, my friend. I'm going for your Eagles. I'm even wearing my Sirianni shirt. I'm wearing my W&J shirt.
No, I love it.
I am. I'm not kidding. I don't have an Eagles shirt, so I won't wear that, but I'll be wearing the closest thing I have to it is this on game day because I am an Eagles fan come Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday.
Well, we need it. We need it. Hey, what's your thoughts on Coach Carroll?
Love Coach Carroll. He's a coach's coach. I don't care about his age.
That's a pretty sneaky good hire, getting Chip Kelly.
It is a good hire. Mesa loves Chip Kelly.
I do love Chip Kelly. I have my reservations.
I love Chip Kelly. Know what?
I love Chip Kelly. I told Dash, Chip Kelly changed the game as much as any offensive coach has ever changed the game in the history of football. His offense, everybody runs his offense now. And I don't think he gets nearly the credit he deserves for changing the game. The no huddle spread, the RPOs, the reads on every play, on every one play.
Pass and punt like he ran in Philly.
Couldn't you guys, because Mason's going to go negative right now. He said on the positive stuff first. Could you guys just leave it at the positive stuff and not go negative? It's been a tough time for my Raiders. It's been a tough time.
You got Chip's three-play playbook coming to you, man.
Let us just enjoy this time. All right, let me enjoy this.
So I know you're bitter, and he was the head Myers catch for a year, and and the problem was again, I've ran Chip Kelly's stuff. I think what he did was inventive more than anybody. Pissed off Nick Saban so mad he was like, they stopped running the no huddle. This is unfair. I don't like it. I hate it. And that was all.
I love Chip Kelly. I love Chip Kelly. He pissed off Jeffrey Lurie so much we rehired Howie Roseman. I love Chip Kelly.
Negative, you guys. Well,
anyway,
it's going to go well. Pete Carroll's a coach's coach. I love the way the man chews gum. It's fantastic. Who doesn't like the way he chews gum? It's a great gum chewer. And one thing about Pete Carroll, in all honesty, is that he will keep bringing in quarterbacks until he finds one. I mean, he'll keep. Dude, at Seattle and maybe Mason being a West Coast guy, but whether it was Matt Flynn, Tavarius Jackson, he kept on bringing in guys.
He got him Matt Flynn and then cut him.
Yes,
Russell Wilson
until he found his guy. So he will keep bringing in guys, and instead of just settling on bums like the Raiders have done for the last couple of years. So I'm excited. Gentlemen. Yeah. Also excited to say it's been a great show. Yes. It's been a fun episode. I've enjoyed every second of it. And we need to do this again. I know we got the interviews coming up, but we need to do this again because it's just been too long, gentlemen. Been too long. We'll do it again soon, right?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
All right. Well, from all Hitches, from Carl Frederick, Coach Mason, Coach Dash, we'll see you next time.
See ya.